Hi friends, welcome back to Brilliant Blue Reviews. I debated whether I was even going to make this video because there kind of seems to be no point, and as you can see, I'm working under weird circumstances today. I'm sitting at my computer, you've got the dishwasher running behind me. I'm sorry about that weird background noise from the dishwasher. And I'm just gonna throw this out there because I want to get this video made so that I can refer back to it next year like I did this year. And this is, what books am I planning to read in 2026? Now, if you haven't already, go back and watch this video where I talk about how 2025 was a complete reading fail. Kind of what happened in 2025 is I started out pretty good in 2025. I was reading at a decent pace, read several books in the beginning of the year. And then life kind of happened, and a whole bunch of stuff has happened in my life that has kept me very busy. I've had a lot of changes in my life, and this is going to continue through, I would say, the first half of 2026. We have a lot going on personally in our family in the first half of 2026. I was actually writing an email to someone, like giving them key dates and stuff of stuff that's coming up, and it actually freaked me out how much stuff we have going on in the first half of 2026. So the more I think about it, the more I think I am just putting too much pressure on myself trying to set reading goals and stay on track with reading. It's January 14th today, so we're almost halfway through the month of January, and so far my 2026 year of reading is a complete fail again. I think I've gotten like 3 books from the library and already had to take them back. Yeah, I think there were 3 because I was just like, I'm not going to be able to read this. I can't read this, okay? Then I got like a renewed sense one day of like, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to read. I'm going to read 12 books a year like I talked about in that last video, and I'm going to read 1 book a month, and it's going to be good. I can do 1 book a month. That's way less than I used to read. You know, I used to read like 36 to 48 books a year, 3 to 4 novels a month. I would read, like a novel in a week to 10 days, usually. I just can't do that anymore, and I definitely can't do it right now. So I've had this book. This was going to be my January book, Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney, which I've had on my to be read for a while. This was a 2024 book. Yeah, 2024. She has another book coming out very soon that I also want to read. I was excited when I started it. It's got like this prologue thing. It has a map. It takes place on a Scottish island. There's a map at the beginning. I love a book with a map. So I was all excited. I was all into it. I read the chapters aren't numbered, I don't think. No, they're not. They're just titled. I read the first chapter, the first like little prologue about, 10 days ago. Haven't read a word of it since. It's not happening, folks. I can't read right now. Okay, so basically, this video is serving 2 purposes. One is to give you an announcement, which is I give up. I give up life. I can't read right now, okay? I could not read in the second half of last year, and I cannot read in the first half of this year, at least. I have just come to accept that my repeated attempts to start a book and get into a book is just not happening right now. As I've explained, I cannot read in bed at night anymore. I fall asleep way too quickly. This right now, when I'm filming this video, is normally when I would try to read during the day. I can't sit down and concentrate on this right now because I have 8,000 other things going through my brain right now that I need to deal with and do and make phone calls and appointments, and I'm trying to coordinate stuff and other stuff I have to do, and I just can't do it. I cannot shut my brain off from all the life stuff I have to deal with long enough to get into a book right now. Books are like a type of retreat or escapism, and I just don't have enough space or margin in my brain right now to be able to read the way I want to read and really enjoy the books or focus on them even. And I just have too much going on in my head. Have you ever had a season like this where you just couldn't read? And I know when the last season was like this. It was when I went many years without reading fiction or novels at all. And it was when my children were young. After college, I had my first son when I was 24 until I know it was when my oldest son was in high school. that's when I finally started to read again. So there was probably, 15 years in there, really, that I didn't read fiction at all. I would read other stuff. I read nonfiction, I read magazines, I read self-help books, I read a lot of psychology stuff, I read things that helped me through my divorce, stuff like that, personal growth type books. I read newspapers, I read the Bible. I read a lot of stuff. I just couldn't read fiction during that season of my life. And I kind of think that right now is another season like that where I just can't do fiction right now. So I'm still reading things all the time. I mean, I read a ton of news stuff. I read a whole bunch of travel news to keep up with things for my other channel, Heather Travels, for my travel channel. Again, I'm reading some more psychology and personal growth type stuff right now, more nonfiction things. So it's not that I'm not reading, I'm just not reading the stuff I like to read for enjoyment. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, and I just wanted to tell you that, because if you're subscribed to my channel because you like the book reviews, I need you to be aware that I may not have much for fiction book reviews in the first half of the year of 2026. Now, in the second half of the year, that may be completely different. I have a whole bunch of stuff that's going to happen in the first half of the year, and then the second half of 2026 is a wide open blank slate. And I am anticipating in my life having a different season coming soon where things are going to settle down and they're going to be more relaxed and it's going to look very different. And I'm hopeful that I will be able to take up enjoying fiction reading again in the near future, in 6 months maybe, and going forward, that I'll be able to pick back up on it. But right now is just not that time. I'm going to return this book to the library. I'm going to take all my holds off at the library. I'm not even going to attempt to read because it's just actually stressing me out to have the book sitting there not being read. It's bumming me out. And so I'm just not even going to try right now. So that's what's happening. But the other thing I wanted to do is tell you the books that I did want to read in 2026. Now, because of what I just said, I may not read many or all or any of these books in 2026. And some of these are actually carryovers from 2025 that I didn't get to read because I had such a hard time reading at the second half of last year. But I'm going to look at my Goodreads here, my want to read list on Goodreads, and I'm going to tell you what else I have on here. So besides Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney, I still want to go back and read Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I started that book and then kind of skimmed through it, but I didn't actually read the whole thing, and I was enjoying it. I would like to go back and read that. Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid has been on my list for a while. I was especially interested in reading that because it's about astronauts and NASA, and it's a love story, which just intrigues me in itself. And we had gone to Kennedy Space Center in summer of 2024, and so I was really intrigued about this book. Come Fly With Me by Camille DeMaio, which is an author that I read another book by that I really liked, and this one I actually own, and it's on my shelf in my room. Dead of Night by Lisa Gray, which is a standalone novel by Lisa Gray, who's one of my favorite authors, which I also own, is in my room. And then, as I mentioned, My Husband's Wife, which is the next book by Alice Feeney. The Impossible Fortune, which is Thursday Murder Club book number 5 by Richard Osman. Now, I really do want to read this one sooner rather than later, because especially in a series like that, I like to read the new one almost as soon as it comes out. So I'm a little frustrated that I haven't gotten to read that one yet. Here's a couple more in series. Death on a Scottish Train, which is the number 4 book in the Scottish Isle Mystery series by Lucy Connolly. I want to read that as soon as possible. And From Cradle to Grave. Yes, that's one of the ones I had checked out from the library and actually returned because I realized it was set in February and March and I wanted to read it later. That is the number 19 book in the Royal Spinous Mystery series by Rhys Bowen. And I definitely want to read that one this year. Okay, then the rest of these I think are pretty much all new releases, many of which have not been published yet. And so I'm waiting for them to be published. Don't have any other series. Okay, so a lot of these you might be interested in, and then there are a few that are already out and I'm saving for some other reason. I'll explain that when I get to them. So here's the rest of the stuff that's on my want to read list. Now, a lot of these, like I said, have not been published yet. Mad Mabel by Sally Hepworth. Sally Hepworth, Australian author. She's one of my favorite authors. This is the next book by her. It's not out yet. It's Not What You Think by Claire McIntosh. Same thing. Not published yet. Anyway, and Claire McIntosh is another author I really like, and so I'm excited about that one. The Shippers by Catherine Center. I've mentioned this book before. This is the next book by Catherine Center. Again, not published yet. Okay, then I have a couple of Christmas books that I added at Christmas time that I had them on hold and I didn't get them from the library in time to read them in December. I'm saving them for this next December. My Favorite Holiday by Lauren Blakely, and The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year by Allie Carter. Okay, then I have another Abby Jimenez, which is The Night We Met. This is a new release by Abby Jimenez that's coming out in 2026. 107 Days by Kamala Harris. I actually have this waiting for me to pick up at the library on hold right now. And I was just at a bookstore. I was at Barnes & Noble in Minnesota yesterday. And I saw it there and I was discussing with my friend that was with me that I have this book on hold at the library. I want to read it. And then we were joking around and talking about Melania's book and stuff like that. But anyway, don't think I'm in the right frame of mind, especially with everything that's going on in the country politically right now, to read that at this moment. So that's going to have to wait for another time. It Could Have Been Her by Lisa Jewell. That's Lisa Jewell's next book, which is not published yet. Anatomy of an Alibi by Ashley Elston. This just was released today, yesterday, this week. So that it just came out. Our Perfect Storm by Carly Fortune. This is a romance book that I want to read. I think I was kind of saving that for summer. Every Version of You by Natalie Messier. If It Makes You Happy by Julie Olivia is a fall romance, which I wanted to read last fall and didn't get in time. So I'm bumping it to fall of 2026, hopefully. Okay, then I have another couple of Christmas books. Grace and Henry's Holiday Movie Marathon by Matthew Norman, and A Cross Country Christmas by Courtney Walsh, which is the first in a series called Road Trip Romance. These are some currently out. Love Mom by Ileana Xander. This is kind of a thriller that I've been wanting to read that's been out for a while. A Killer Kind of Romance. I think that just came out. That was just published this week, released this week too, by Letizia Larini. Then these all remaining ones, I'm pretty sure none of these are published yet. The Murder at World's End by Ross Montgomery. This is the first in a series called Stockingham and Pike. How to Get Away with Murder by Rebecca Phillipson. Ours is a Tale of Murder. Get all the murder books out of the way here. By Nora Murphy. The Midnight Taxi by Yosha Gunasekera. This Story Might Save Your Life by Tiffany Crum, and The Romance Revival by Christina Lauren. Christina Lauren, if you're not aware, is actually two authors who write together. Their names are Christina and Lauren, and they write together as Christina Lauren. And this is the next book that they're writing. I love Christina Lauren's books too, and I've read a whole bunch of their books. So that is what's on my to-be-read list or my want-to-read list. That's 32 books. I still hope that I can read, even if I can read 6 or 10 books this year, that would make me really happy. My goal that I set for myself on Goodreads for the reading challenge this year is 12, one book a month. I just don't think that's going to happen. If I read a novel before June, I'll be thrilled. Or actually July. Yeah, if I read a novel before July, that's going to take some doing because I have so much going on. After that, July through December, I am more optimistic that I will have more time and more space in my brain to be able to read some more books. So hopefully I will get to read some of these books this year in 2026. If you wanted to hear my review of one of these books that I mentioned in this video, which one of these books are you most curious about and would you most like me to do a review of? And I will prioritize it. The one that gets the most comments. So leave that book in the comments below off of this list that I just gave you that you would most like to see me read and review in 2026. Put it in the comments. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you're all having a good start to the new year. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.